Hey everybody, it's Cooper Guyon, host of the Guyon Show. It's great to be here with my friend and America's Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited you're here in Washington.
Yeah, it's great to be here. So I've got 6 phrases and names, and I want you to say what comes to your head and what you think about them.
Okay.
Okay, first thing, Stacey Abrams.
Oh, gosh. She still thinks she's Georgia's governor. She never conceded.
Right. Georgia 14.
She lost by this much.
Yeah, Georgia 14.
Oh, home. That's where, home is where your heart is.
Constitutional carry.
Must pass in Georgia this year.
Right. Rhinos.
Oh, bad. Big problems.
The 2020 election.
Trump won.
And committee assignments.
Well, let me tell you, you don't need committees right now because Republicans have no control.
Right. Exactly. And I think you're getting a lot more done now that you don't have to, honestly, because they would have just held you back.
Oh, I'm getting a lot done. I'm getting more done without committees.
Exactly.
Actually, Republicans are wasting their time on committees because Democrats don't listen and they don't care what Republicans think.
So I want to ask you, there's talk that part of Atlanta or Metro Atlanta could be drawn into your district. What do you think about that, and what do you think about just redistricting in general?
Well, I know there's a lot of talk about it. This is what people are interested in, but I have huge support at home in my district, and every single county wants to keep me. So that's what we're going to be working on. But Cooper, I got to tell you, there's a lot more hotter issues that people are really fired up about.
Yeah. So you've just introduced the Eliminate the ATF Act.
Yes.
That's a huge topic, and I definitely agree with you on that one. So tell me a little bit about it.
Well, if every gun owner in this country knows that the federal government wants to take away their Second Amendment rights, our firearms are not safe, and now that we have Joe Biden in the White House, this is his #1 goal, is gun control. Democrats say it over and over all the time. They want gun control. And now we have David Chipman is looking to be who is going to be leading the ATF. And any gun owner that knows anything about David Chipman, they know that their guns aren't safe. So the ATF has just a radical history of abusing gun owners' rights, abusing people, going after people's firearms when really the only people we should be going after are criminals. And illegal aliens invading our country every single day. So the ATF Act is very important. I'm happy I've got it introduced and it has support from people all over the country.
That's great. I hope it passes. You've also introduced and gotten a lot of attention from it, the Fauci Act. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, this one's big. This is important for every single American, and honestly, it's not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is a humanity issue. This is an American issue, but it's an issue for people all over the world. We now know, and President Trump told us early on, and most people at home agree, Dr. Anthony Fauci led this country in the wrong direction. He lied, and as a result of his lies and his guidance, which he was never elected in his position, he's the highest paid employee of the federal government, paid more than the President of the United States. But he lied. He worked hard through a third party funding the Wuhan lab for the gain of function research, which is some kind of Dr. Frankenstein experiment that takes viruses that are transmitted between bats and turns them into something they were never meant to be, turns them into a bioweapon. And people don't want to use that word, but this is exactly what COVID-19 was meant to be, as a bioweapon. And now we've all lived the result of it. But Dr. Anthony Fauci's emails show the truth. While he was advising President Trump and going on CNN saying that millions of people were going to die, in reality, he was emailing people recognizing the real reality that only several 100,000 people would die. And he said that early on in 2020. He also, as you know, flipped and flopped on masks. Masks don't work. Wear 1 mask, wear 2 masks, 3 masks, 4 masks, as many masks as you can possibly find, while he's enjoying, going to baseball games and going mask free and posing on for, magazines and everything else. But Dr. Fauci's a real problem, and many people agree this is a big issue because it's ruined our lives for over a year now.
It has.
Yeah, so thank you for asking about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think It's a disaster right now. And then also, speaking of disasters, the border is horrible. We have a crisis. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on at our border right now.
Well, we have the biggest border crisis that we've probably had in our history of our country.
Right.
And Joe Biden invited everyone to come. He ripped our border wide open. He stopped construction on the border wall, and he doesn't even care if we take it down. He's also there. Democrats have basically crippled ICE and Border Patrol. ICE was arresting and deporting roughly around 9,000 illegals a month. Now ICE arrests and deports possibly 1 to 2 every month or 2 months. It has gone down drastically. Horrible. It is horrible. Border Patrol now uses the term, I think they call it something like I can't even remember what the term is, but where we call a crossing or someone illegally entering our country, the Democrats' language has totally changed. And they just call it, it's an encounter. They have an encounter. Well, they're having thousands of encounters every single day, and an encounter means when illegals come into our country. They don't like to use the term illegals. They want to call them migrants. And they're lying. They're saying that migrants are coming in our country because of climate change. Well, Democrats talk about the big lie. The big lie is climate change.
Right.
And so this is what they're doing. And we just had a great press conference today to talk about holding Joe Biden accountable for his failure to do his job as the President of the United States. And now we've seen the news that Vice President Kamala Harris has announced that she's finally going to go down to the border. And we all know why that is. It's because President Trump is going to the border, and Kamala Harris is very much expecting to be the presidential nominee in 2024, and not Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, they said that the pipeline workers could find another job. Why can't the migrants just find another country? Because they've opened up our borders for all these people to come in, and it's just sickening and ridiculous.
Right. And then our country sends millions and millions and millions of our hard-earned tax dollars to these countries in foreign aid, right?
Yeah.
And these countries should be more responsible with the foreign aid that America has been sending. And if they were doing a good job with that money, people wouldn't be leaving those countries to begin with. It's their corrupt governments, their socialist governments that are failing those people, and those people are leaving their countries. Why? Because they want a job in America, and they want our great American ways of life. So there's a lot that can be done if we had people in place that are willing to do it, and that's why we miss President Trump so much.
Yeah, we all do. I mean, it's sad, but I think we'll get him back soon enough. So how are you adjusting to life as the most well-known freshman Congresswoman ever?
Well, I'm adjusting and working very hard. It's been quite a change. The media, they definitely did a good job to help me become the most well-known Congresswoman in such a short amount of time. And the good news is everyone that knows me in the district back at home definitely know who I really am. So that's great. And then I'm just grateful for support from so many people all over the country. It's incredible.
Right. Speaking of all your support across the country, I can't help but notice your entire office is just covered with letters from everywhere, and it's amazing. No one else has stuff like that. And with all this support, would you, I know it's very far out, but would you ever consider running for the highest office in the land one day?
Well, I don't even think that way. I'm really focused on what I'm doing right now. And that is the goal. It's what I ran on, and that's Save America and Stop Socialism. Yeah. And so we have a big fight on our hands right now with what the Democrats are trying to do to our country. And then also we've got to focus very hard on this next election in 2022. So it's important for us to take back the majority, but we also have to take back the majority with a strong GOP conference that's ready to get the job done and not just message, but actually put our messages into action.
Exactly.
And that's what I care about.
Right. So you've had a very unique approach to Congress, different than anyone else, but different's a good thing. So how do you balance that out with effectively representing all your constituents?
Oh, it's easy. Everyone knows that I'm actually doing what I say I'm going to do. I followed through on all of my campaign promises. Being effective isn't difficult when you aren't, a member of the swamp.
Right.
You see, the swamp has a way of doing things here, and their way of doing things fails. That's why we're nearly $30 trillion in debt. And so when you don't join the swamp and you're not afraid of the media and you're not afraid of the Democrats, then it's easy to get things done, especially having the background I have of being a successful business owner.
So I've got one last question. At the end of your time in Congress, what would you want to look back on and say that, wow, that was like the best thing, the biggest thing that I've accomplished?
Well, I think if I ever could accomplish one thing, and it's one that I know many people wish we could accomplish, and that would be to end abortion.
Oh, yeah, I agree on that, definitely, and that's a good note to end on. So thank you so much, Marjorie. It was a pleasure, and
you're welcome, Cooper.
Yeah,
Glad you came to see me.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I made the hike
Yeah.
up here from your district. So
Well,
no, it was
you
great.
also worked on my campaign.
Oh, I did.
Which I appreciate. And
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
And I'll do it again. We've got to get you back in there because you're fighting hard, and we need more fighters like Marjorie Greene. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was the best interview I've done so far, I think, and I'm just thankful for all the support. God bless you all. Follow me on Instagram, The Guyon Show, and on Facebook, Cooper Guyon de Shimley. So God bless you. Have a good day.